Hello, my name is Maren and I'm a journalist and I'm working with the Independent Media Center in Denmark called DanWatch. And today we launch a report called Waterways together with, in collaboration with Macedonia. And this focuses on the e-waste situation in Ghana, where I went on a research trip last summer. And our key finding in our report is that an estimated 600 pieces of 40-foot containers are shipped to Timor port each month as reusable second-hand items that are imported by Ghanaian e-shoppers and brokers. Great Britain, Belgium, the Netherlands, Denmark, Italy and Spain are the top 7 European countries that export used computers to Ghana. The authority in Ghana do not know whether these computers are functional or obsolete. Computers from England, Denmark, Sweden and USA, formerly owned by municipalities, institutions and companies, has ended up in Skopje. That is the great landfill in Accra, the capital of Ghana. Thousands of people are working in the informal waste industry in Ghana. Children constitute around 40% of the scrap workers at Skopje dump site. And this calls the work with the dismantling of e-waste at Skopje causes health-damaging exposure to e-waste that can result in long-term, often irresistible effects such as infertility, miscarriages, tumors, endocrine diseases and birth defects, and the workers often suffer from cuts, colds, headaches, other respiratory problems, rashes and burns. And currently there is not any legislation in Ghana, and the country has only one recycling facility with 3 workers, and they cannot possibly manage to dismantle all this incoming shipment of e-waste together with the e-waste that are generated domestically. And we have found that the influx of used electronics in Ghana comes from computers that are sent by charity by NGOs from Europe. That it's from relatives that have sent used computers to their families in Ghana, and it is computers that are disguised of being second-hand reusable electronics, but which are actually to be considered waste derived from brokers and landfills in Europe. And as well, there are computers purchased by European brokers from different European companies. And the research that we have conducted in Denmark shows that many Danish companies rather sell their computers to a broker or get money from a broker in Denmark in order to send them to Ghana. And we have tried to make some headlines in the Danish media, and one of the stories that we had last year was this story. It shows a boy in the dump site with a computer casket around his head from the Danish post company called Post Denmark. And this story was brought as a top story in the Danish media the following days. And we asked Post Denmark if they were aware that their computers were sent to Ghana, and they wasn't. And we have tried to find out how did that computer end up in Ghana. We found that the broker that they sold their computer to was also the broker that the Ministry of Environment in Denmark sent their computer to. And we have tried to file for insight in how computers are shipped from Danish harbors, but our insight has been rejected as they thought that we were third part in this and we wasn't supposed to get that information. And together with Made IT Affairs, we have made different priorities on how to make this, how to minimize the problem with e-waste in Ghana. And we have identified the following governmental relevant actions: that we should set minimum requirements for used electronic products intended for export, monitoring destination of used electronics, and legislating that export of used electronics must obtain export permission from the authorities and be in possession of relevant paperwork. As it is for now, it's only a matter of you can plug the computer in at the harbor, and if it's usable, you can send it away. But you might have a minimum standard to set up that the computer at least will work for 2 years when it's shipped away. And then you should establish a national e-waste authority that monitors e-waste collection, recycling, and export flows. This authority should proactively identify the loopholes in the national e-waste system by examining whether producers' responsibility, compliance, and local control of recycling stations are sufficient, and at the same time the communication between the main e-waste receiving countries and European countries should be increased to create a greater oversight of the magnitude of the e-waste trade. This allows a quicker identification of new e-waste hotspots and information sharing about illegal exports. And then we should focus on eco-design as well. And the problem is that even though this used electronics is usable when it ends up in Ghana, it will always end at the landfill because there isn't any recycling facilities. So what we need is a focus on how to establish recycling facilities, formal recycling facilities in Ghana, and implement the informal workers because they have the know-how to do this dismantling work, and it is the livelihood, their livelihood to do this. And if we take this work away from them, they haven't got money to live for. And that is the reason why, even though they know this is hazardous to work with it, they do it because that is the only matter, that is the only way they can survive.